Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in any part of the world. Thank you for joining today's episode of AI Book Reading. My name is Henry Onowale, the executive producer of the Daily AI Book Reading and also the executive producer of AI Spotlight Show. I'm an AI expert, an AI strategy, an AI futurist, an AI advisor. For those that are joining us for the first time, the beginning of this year, we engage on a journey to read about four AI books with major focus on AI governance, AI ethics, and AI safety or responsible AI. And so far, we've read three books. The first book we read is titled AI Governance, a Primer, and the author is Edward Aden. And the second book we read is AI Governance, Applying AI Policy and Ethics Through Principle and Assessment. And the author is Dr. Daryl J. Carlton. And the third one is an unofficial guide for prepping for the Artificial Intelligence Governance Professional Certification, which is abbreviated as AIGP, coordinated by International Association of Privacy Professionals. And the one that we're currently reading is titled Responsible AI in the Age of Generative Model. And the author is Alameda. This is the book, Alameda. If you are joining us from LinkedIn, please drop a comment. You're joining from Twitch, joining from Facebook, joining from YouTube. Endeavor to drop a comment if you have any specific question or any update about artificial intelligence that you would like to share. Do not hesitate to do that. Okay, let's go straight to today's agenda. We're almost done with this book. It's really amazing. I'm so proud of you guys, for beginning this journey with me. When we started, it was boring. We read about three books, and so far, I can say we've read close to maybe up to 1,000 pages. Yeah, in 7 months. Yeah, we're in the month of, no, 6 months, right? What am I saying? We're in the month of July. Yeah, in 6 months, and we're right now in the seventh month. It's been an amazing journey. We've learned a lot, and I believe our knowledge about artificial intelligence must have been deepened, looking at it from the angle of AI ethics, AI governance, responsible AI. We've been able to deep dive into the responsible AI principles, majorly like the principle of transparency, the principle of fairness, the principle of accountability, the principle of contestability, principle of interpretability, principle of fairness, the principle of trustworthiness. Yeah. Then the principle of security and privacy. The principle of robustness. Yeah, robustness is one important, key principle of artificial intelligence. The principle of reliability and safety. We can't ignore that as well. Then we've learned a lot. We've looked into several guidelines that are postulated by different agencies like National Institute of Standard and Technology, and also the top technology giant like Google, Microsoft, AWS, and other independent agencies that are related to United Nations and other organization. Okay, let's go straight to today's topic. I find this very interesting. To be honest, I can tell you that I'm very well updated when it comes to AI news. And one thing we read yesterday that caught my attention, or 2 days ago, was the concept of constitutional AI that was, will I said, that was initiated by Anthropic. Anthropic were the one that probably launched MCP, Model Context Protocol, which everyone is talking about. But I've not seen people talking about constitutional AI. But with what we read yesterday, constitutional AI is one of the ethical approach or framework that was introduced by Anthropic. And the framework itself will help to solidify guardrails. We help a lot of AI companies and organizations to put in place guardrails that will help to mitigate against the challenges or the limitation or the risks associated with artificial intelligence. And one good thing about the policy and the approach is it will also foster an environment where AI will be harnessed and leveraged in an ethical manner without posing any form of threat either to the user or to the human society or to business itself. Okay, let's continue. Uh, we're in chapter 68, and the title is Research on Constitutional AI by at Anthropic. Since its founding, Anthropic has been at the forefront of research into constitutional AI, developing the methodology, and publishing several groundbreaking studies. This work have showcased the potential of the approach for aligning advanced language model with beneficial goals and human values. By experimenting with different constitutional principles, training techniques, and evaluation schemes, anthropic research has provided valuable insights into the strengths, challenges, and future direction of constitutional AI. Early development and experiment. Anthropic journey into constitutional AI began with early experiment applying the methodology to large language models. The research team recognized that as these models grow more sophisticated, it was increasingly important to develop techniques to align them with human preferences and values. Constitutional AI emerged as a promising framework for this challenge, offering a way to specify high level normative principles that could guide model behavior. Initial work focused on developing the basic pipeline for constitutional AI, defining suitable AI constitution, using them to generate label data set, and optimizing models via reinforcement learning. Researchers experimented with different constitutional principles, reward modeling scheme, and training hyperparameters to study how this choice affected model performance and adherence to the specified principles. This early investigation yielded encouraging results, demonstrating that constitutional AI could effectively steer model output toward greater alignment with a given constitution. Model trained with constitutional AI show behavioral shifts in line with their constitutional directives, such as reduced toxicity, increased truthfulness, or greater helpfulness. At the same time, these studies also surface key challenges such as the difficulty of perfectly specifying desired principles, or the potential for unintended consequences from misspecified constitutions. Constitutional AI, harmless from AI feedback. Building on these initial successes, Anthropic published its first major paper on constitutional AI in December 2022, titled Constitutional AI, Harmless from AI Feedback. This work focused specifically on the challenge of reducing harmful outputs in large language models, a key priority for responsible AI development. The paper introduced Anthropic constitutional AI training principles in detail and presented extensive experiment applying it to the problems of harm prevention. Researchers define a constitution centered on principles like avoid toxicity, don't cause harm, and be safe and beneficial. This constitution was then used to automatically label a large data set of model output as harmful or safe, which was used to fine tune the model via reinforcement learning. Results show that model trained with conversational AI produce significantly less harmful content compared to baseline model. When subjected to red teaming, tests designed to elicit toxic or dangerous responses, the constitutionally trained model were much less likely to produce concerning outputs. Importantly, this reduction in harm was achieved without sacrificing model performance on standard benchmarks, indicating that constitutional AI could align models and beneficial principles while preserving core capabilities. The paper also presented ablation studies to isolate the contribution of different components in the constitutional AI pipeline. This experiment demonstrated that each element, the constitutional principle, the AI feedback labels, the reinforcement learning, played an important role in the overall effectiveness of the approach. However, the study also identified important limitations and areas for future work. The model adherence to its constitution, while significantly improved, was still not perfect, highlighting the need for further research into more robust training techniques. Additionally, the constitution used in this study, while effective for mitigating overt harms, did not capture more subtle forms of negative behavior, underscoring the challenge of comprehensively specifying desired principles. Despite this limitation, the paper represented a major milestone on anthropic research agenda. It provided the first in-depth demonstration of constitutional AI potential for aligning advanced language models with human values and established a foundation for further work refining and scaling the methodology. Specific versus general principles for constitutional AI. Anthropic next major constitutional AI study, published in 2023, investigated a key question raised by the previous work: how specific or general should the principle in an AI constitution be? This paper, titled Specific versus General Principle for Constitutional AI, explored the trade-off between using narrow, targeted principles versus broad, high-level principles in AI constitution. The motivation for this study was the recognition that while specific principles can provide clear guidance in targeted domains, they may fail to generalize to novel situations. Conversely, very broad principles, while more flexible, may be too vague to effectively guide model behavior. Finding the right balance between specificity and generality is thus a crucial design challenge for constitutional AI. To investigate these questions, researchers train model on a range of constitutions spanning a spectrum from highly specific to highly general principles. On one end were constitutions with narrow directives like don't use profanity or don't recommend illegal drugs. On the other end, on the other end were constitutions with broad principles like be beneficial or do what best for humanity. Models were then evaluated on a diverse suite of tasks designed to probe adherence to both the letter and spirit of their constitutions. These tasks included not just constrained scenario directly related to the constitutional principles, but also more open-ended challenges requiring generalization to novel contexts. Results show that while models with specific contribution perform well on targeted tasks, they often fail to generalize to broader contexts. Conversely, models with very general constitution showed greater flexibility but were less consistent in adhering to intended behavior. The best performing models were those with constitution that balance specificity and generality, providing clear guidance while still being broad enough to cover diverse situations. One particularly notable finding was the strong performance of models trained on the broad do what best for humanity constitution. Despite the generality of this principle, model trained on each show surprisingly robust beneficial behavior across a wide range of evaluations. They avoided harmful or deceptive output, provided helpful and truthful information, and showed rudimentary signs of moral reason. These results suggested that with the right training techniques, even very broad constitutional principles could provide meaningful behavioral guidance. The paper also introduced an important innovation in the evaluation of constitutionally trained model, adversarial probing. In this scheme, human evaluation interactively converse with model and try to find examples where they violate constitutional principles. Thus, provided a more strongest test of model adherence to that constitution and identify failure mode that could inform further research. Overall, the paper provided valuable insight into a core design question for the constitutional AI framework. It highlighted the importance of carefully crafting constitution that balance specificity and generality and demonstrated the potential for broad principles to induce robust beneficial behaviors. The study findings have important implications for the future development of constitutional AI. suggesting, promoting direction for constitution design and evaluation, detecting and mitigating AI discrimination with constitutional AI. Anthropic has also applied the constitutional AI framework to the important challenge of detecting and mitigating discrimination in AI systems. As large language models are increasingly used for high-stakes societal applications like content moderation, job screening, and credit decisioning, ensuring they treat different groups fairly is a critical priority or as a critical priority. To investigate this challenge, anthropic researchers developed a constitutional AI methodology for evaluating discrimination risks in language models. The approach involved defining a constitution with principles like treat all groups equally and do not make decisions based on protected attributes. This constitution was then used to generate a large data set of model outputs labeled for discriminatory content. Wow, this is a long one. Researchers created a comprehensive suite of probing tasks designed to elicit potential discrimination across a wide range of societal contexts. These tasks span domains such as employment, housing, lending, healthcare, and criminal justice, and systematically varied the demographic characteristics, e.g., race, gender, age, of the individual described on the prompt. By comparing model output across different demographics, researchers could quantify disparities in model behavior. Initial studies using this methodology found that pre-trained language models, including Anthropy own baseline models, did indeed exhibit biases and disparities in their output. For example, models were more likely to assign negative sentiment to certain names or description associated with particular ethnic group. They also show differences in the tone and framing of response based on the gender or age of the individual in the prompts. However, when models were fine-tuned using constitutional AI to adhere to anti-discrimination principles, these disparities were significantly reduced. The constitutionally trained model showed much more consistent and equitable output across demographic variation in the probing tasks. Importantly, this bias reduction was achieved without sacrificing model performance on standard language benchmarks. Anthropic researchers also explore techniques for further improving the fairness of constitutionally trained models. One promising approach was multi-constitutionality, training models on multiple constitutions, embodying different perspectives of fairness and non-discrimination. This allows models to develop more nuance and understanding of discrimination risks that could handle potential trade-off or conflict between different notions of fairness. Another important line of research investigated how to make AI constitutions themselves more inclusive and representative of diverse societal views. This led to anthropic groundbreaking work on collective constitutional AI, which use public deliberation to source constitutional principle from the broader population. Face next chapter. Okay, for it from the broader population. Anthropic work on constitutional AI for anti-discrimination represent an important application of the methodology to a pressing societal challenge. It demonstrates the potential for constitutional AI to not only make model more beneficial and truthful, but also fairer and more equitable. As language models are increasingly deployed in high-stake domain, the line of research will only become more crucial. Going forward, much work remains to be done to further refine and scale these techniques. More granular and intersectional evaluation of discrimination rates, more participatory approaches to constituent design, and more robust training methods to ensure adherence to fairness principles are all important areas for further research. But anthropic study have laid a valuable foundation establishing constitutional AI as a promising framework for building more just and unbiased AI system. As anthropic research on constitutional AI bias progress, a key theme has emerged: the importance of opening up the process of designing AI constitution to broader societal input. If this system are to be deployed in high-stake social contexts, it is crucial that their governing principles reflect the value and preferences of the diverse community they will impact. This recognition has motivated some of Anthropic's most exciting recent work on collective constitutional AI, which we turn to in the next section. Wow. Now, there are two concepts I would like us to do a research on. One is the concept of constitutional AI and the concept of collective constitutional AI. I would suggest there was a paper that was published by Anthropic, one in 2021, I think another in 2022, another one in 2023. The first one is constitutional AI. The second one is collective constitutional AI. And just as I said, these are framework or methodology that was published or founded by Anthropic team as a way to put guardrails in place to help mitigate the risks associated with artificial intelligence in terms of deployment, in terms of implementation, in terms of adoption. And yeah, they were I think they won an award for that, and that work was really recognized, and the work is still ongoing. Then I would suggest that you go ahead and read the paper. And mind you, we're going to start research paper reading. We're going to start that very soon. Um, I think my only issue is I'm trying to decide what aspect we should focus on. But we're going to start a review of research papers with major focus on artificial intelligence technology. We're going to start, probably we're going to review one paper in 1 week, and I will talk extensively on that paper, and you guys can go and read it, and I can tell you where you can get a copy, and probably I will be able to share some of those papers. Maybe I'll post it on LinkedIn. Yeah, I will post it on LinkedIn. Then I will suggest you follow me on LinkedIn with the same name, Henry Onowale. Just type it on Google. You should be able to find me on LinkedIn. You know, I have a lot of digital assets, and maybe few I've not gotten to to millions, but I've been online since last year, consistently. Then when you type in my name, you should be able to locate and find me easily. Okay, this brings us to the end of our today book reading section. Thank you for joining me. If you have any question, please do not hesitate to reach out to me or to DM me. Thanks for my LinkedIn followers. Thank you, my Instagram followers. Thank you, my Twitch followers, YouTube, Facebook. And please like, comment, and share on all your social media platforms. Tell your friend. We are currently doing a teaching series on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube. 4 channels: LinkedIn, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. We're doing a teaching series. Then, if you're trying to have a basic understanding of AI, please follow me on these 4 channels. We started a teaching series by breaking down um, the definition, the concept of AI, what is artificial intelligence. We also look at computer vision. We look at natural language processing. We look at AI, speech AI, and which other one did we look at again? We look at LLP. We look at computer vision. We look at generative AI. We're looking at scenarios. We're also looking at use cases. Please do not hesitate to follow me on those channels. If you're trying to find your foot in the AI career, I think starting with that, and I know I'm here to post the link for that teaching series. I mean, it's a model. We're actually taking the Microsoft, AI learning part. Yeah, that is what we are covering. I share my screen and I kind of explain what is being captured in the model. Thank you, guys. See you soon. There's a lot of things on the way that I'm currently working on. I want to try as much as possible, to give more content on artificial intelligence, and we're working on it. And another thing I also do, I host AI Spotlight, where I bring in different AI company founders, co-founders, CEO, and we'll talk about their AI product. Then that is another way to get yourself ahead of the curve. Yeah, that's one way to equip yourself, and one way to also know what is going on in the world of AI and what direction you need to follow if you are actually pursuing a career, or you are an employee of an organization. You want to help your organization in terms of AI strategy, or in terms of helping the organization to be properly positioned, in this AI era. Okay, thanks everyone. Talk to you guys.